Okay, so to make kombucha, you're going to need a few things. You'll need a gallon glass jar, and it needs to be glass. You cannot use metal or plastic because the kombucha will eat through it. And you're going to need some black tea. I'm using just regular old black tea bags. You want a black tea that does not have any oils or extra little fruit flavors that might have oil in it, because the oil could damage your SCOBY, which is the other thing that you need. You need a nice healthy SCOBY. A SCOBY stands for a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. And this is basically what ferments your tea. And you will also need a cup of sugar. So you take 3 quarts of water and you boil it on your stove. And then you take your 4 tea bags, so 3 quarts of water, 4 tea bags. Once it's boiling, stick your 4 tea bags in there and you can take it off and let it steep for 10 minutes. And then at the same time you can add in your cup of sugar. So you've got your 4 tea bags, your cup of sugar, and your 3 quarts of water, and you're going to let that steep for 10 minutes. And once that's done, you want to remove your tea bags and let it cool off to room temperature. At which time, you will take your cooled off tea and pour it into your jar that has your SCOBY in it. It'll look something like this. So I've got the tea in the jar with the SCOBY and it's floating on top. And you're going to let that sit at room temperature for, depending on how warm it is, it could be anywhere from 5 to 10 days. In the summertime, mine took about 4 or 5 days, but our house was probably at around 75 to 80. And in the wintertime, it takes upwards towards 10 and sometimes 12 days because our house is about at 55 or 60. So depending on how warm your house is, you need to just check it, and you can tell if it's been fermented. If it still tastes a lot like tea, then it's not fermented. If it's starting to taste a little more, I guess, like vinegarish, then it's fermented. If you let it sit too long, it will be really vinegary, and you don't really want that. So you want to just continue to taste it every so often and see at which point you like it. And then at that point, you can just start dumping it right out of your jar and drinking it. Or you can try the second ferment, which is the other video that I have. So I think that's about it, and I'm gonna let my tea sit for a while and then I'm gonna pour it in. Make sure that you guys do not use any metal for your fermenting because it will eat it, and don't use any plastic. And you also need to put a paper towel with a rubber band over the top so that so that it can breathe and it has room to ferment and let the gas out. Because once your SCOBY starts eating the sugar, it'll produce carbon dioxide. So it needs to have a place to let that go. And so you can't cap it off and keep it tight. Otherwise it won't be good and it'll build up too much pressure. So that's it. Thanks.